Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys, so I found this case that happened in Alberta, Canada. It is related to Scientology. This professor was trying to ring the alarm. So I'm going to read, I don't know how many pages this is, but I'm going to read it. British Child Visitation Case. Expert Statement. February 10th, 1999. I, Stephen Allen Kent, of the Department of Sociology, University of Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. T is in Tango, 6, G is in Go, 2, H is in Hotel, 4, will say as follows. 1. I am a sociologist by profession, specializing in the area of alternative religions. I am a professor of sociology at the University of Alberta in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I have worked for the past 10 years. I have been a full professor of sociology since July 1997. Prior to that time, I held various positions as assistant and associate professor in the Department of Sociology. I maintain adjunct professor status in the Department of Comparative Literature, Religion, and Film Media Studies, which means that I can co-supervise graduate students and have some of my sociology courses cross-listed for students in religious studies. I teach classes on the sociology of religion at both the undergraduate and graduate level. My particular area of expertise is in an area variously called new religions, alternative religions, or sectarian groups. Scientology is among the groups that I have studied. In addition to these normal academic studies, I oversee a restricted access collection of primary and secondary material on alternative religions owned by the University of Alberta Library, which includes Scientology material. 2. I began formal studies of Scientology along with at least 5 other groups. In 1986, when I received a grant from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada to study cults and new religions in the country. 3. One of my articles on Scientology has appeared in a peer-reviewed journal, Scientology's Relationship with Eastern Religious Traditions, Journal of Contemporary Religion, 11, number 1, 1996, 21 through 36. I refer often to the organization in other articles that I have published on related sociology of religion topics. These additional articles include 1. Deviance Labeling and Normative Strategies in the Canadian New Religions Counter-Cult Debate. Canadian Journal of Sociology 15, number 4, 1990, 393 to 416, 2. New Religious Movements in the Sociology of Religion, a Canadian Focus, New York Butterworth. I'm going to stop putting the citations in there. Social Control and Alternative Religions, a Familial Approach, Sociological Analysis, 53, number 4, in which I am second author with Robert Cartwright. 4. Crimes in Encyclopedia of Religion and Society, edited by William H. Swatos, Jr., London Altamira Press, 1998, pages 121 to 122. 5. Deviance in Encyclopedia of Religion and Society, edited by William H. Swatos, Jr., London, Altamira Press, 1998, page 138. When Scholars Sin Alternative Religions and Their Academic Supporters. He's just listing his articles. Okay, I'm going to pass that. Number 4, I have given invited talks on Scientology to audiences in Germany, and a Germany parliamentary committee invited me to present information to it about Scientology in September 1997. In that presentation, I spoke about my concerns around Scientology's operation of forced labor and reindoctrination programs called the Rehabilitation Project Force, or RPF. Anytime you ask questions, you're a critic. Kind of like the mind control of the last 4 years. These are programs that elite C organization members enter after internal trials or high-ranking leaders, would that be like the prestigious executives? Find them guilty of crimes against Scientology. The RPF program is one of particular interest to the parties involved in the case because credible evidence exists from a number of sources that Scientologists have placed on children, as young as 12 years old on this harsh and abusive program. 5. By 1993, media reporters began calling me in order to receive my opinions on topics about which they were working. Since then, newspapers in Canada, the United States, Switzerland, and Germany have quoted me about the organization. Similarly, I have spoken on radio and television shows about Scientology in Canada, the United States, Germany, and Australia. 6. In light of my training and professional work, I consider myself qualified to speak about broad issues involving Scientology and children. Concerns about Scientology's impact upon its children. 7. Concerns about Scientology's impact upon children fall under several categories. A. Auditing. B. Children's contact with someone who is hostile to the Scientology organization. C. Belief that auditing can eliminate various physical illnesses. That's charlatanry. D. Time demands that interfere with parents' time in a manner that adversely affects their children. E. Possible neglect of children. And F. Security checking. I just want to interject here. This just shows you all these governments, all of them knew. They all knew everything. If you guys knew who at the top was running things, you would understand this more. I'm not going to go into it. A. American St. Hill Organization. The Auditor, Issue 269. B. John Atack, A Piece of Blue Sky. Scientology, Dianetics, and L. Ron Hubbard Exposed, New York. B. Church of Scientology International. The Scientology Handbook. So this is where he got his information from. C. CSI, Church of Scientology International, 1988. The Command Channels of Scientology booklet. Okay, guys, I'm going to just slowly go through this. I don't want to read all of these. I do want to read this one because I think maybe he wrote this. G. Stephen A. Kent, A Brainwashing in Scientology's Rehabilitation Project Force. Revised version of a presentation at the Society for the Scientific Study of Religion. Oh, you guys know Scientology didn't like this. You know he got fair gamed. Also the RPF for children. Let's talk about that. Fact.net.org, they got to that one, but I think it was probably a good site. Sorry for scrolling. One of the references he used for finding out the information was number 10, auditing Scientology's own material, states that auditing can be applied to children soon after they talk. Mitch Brisker, Mike Rinder, all the derelicts. Child Dianetics, for example, states The criteria for starting formal auditing are that the child understands the significance of prenatal life, know about birth, and realize that repeated running of a painful experience will dispose of it forever. They're just taking away their emotions. When the child is willing to face a mild pain in order to avoid later pain, formal auditing can begin. In the case of seriously disturbed children, formal auditing may of sheer necessity be started before the child understands these things. And that was from Hubbard Research Foundation, Child Dianetics. I want to add too, just go read the book by, what's the name of it? The Training of an Illuminati Slave. I can't think of his name right now, but it's all over the internet, PDF. This is where it comes from. This passage indicates, therefore, Fritz Springmeier, that's it. This passage indicates, therefore, that Scientologists are to believe that auditing of children, is in the children's best interest. No, it's in the parents' and the adults' best interest. 11. According to Scientology's own material, one source of problems for children that will cause them to register negative experiences, which Scientology calls engrams. So engrams must just be thoughts negative of Scientology. In a part of the mind that Scientologists call the reactive mind is parents who have neuroses, as Hubbard said in Dianetics, aberrated, irrational, or manifesting engrams. Parents are certain to infect their children with engrams. This is so insane. The aberrated parents implant their mutual aberrations in the children. Is that why you made sure Quentin didn't live too long? More dramatically, auditing supposedly can uncover the aberrations that mothers committed against their fetuses in prenatal periods. Of course it's against the mom because it's a big misogyny frickin' place. Love and Aaron and all that stuff. One of the prime sources of bad memory is mother. Of course, couldn't be the frickin' father, could it? You scumbag, LRH. Often enough, mother has been sufficiently panic-stricken at the thought of Junior's recalling just what she did to Junior that a mankind-wide aberration seems to have sprung up. The standard attempted abort, you know what, case nearly always has an infanthood and childhood full of mama assuring him that he cannot remember anything when he was a baby. She doesn't want him to recall how handy she was. You hear how crazy this is? If unsuccessful in her efforts with various instruments, you guys know what he's talking about, right? Because apparently LRH was obsessed with the A word, A-B-O-R-T. He was obsessed with it. Could it be a reference to Aleister Crowley's little games that he plays? In the normal course of work, the auditor will have his hands full of mama, screaming objections about her grown sons or daughters entering into therapy because of what they might find out. Oh, they all would know, wouldn't they? Because they get the blackmail material from the auditing. And that was from Dianetics. Page 237. 12. Statements such as the one imply that many children were born despite mothers' failed attempts at self-induced A-words. Can you imagine this sick? This is sick. This is sick. Dianetics, of course, is the foundational book for both Dianetics and Scientology, and the existence of this passage, which Scientology's founder wrote, programs children to have this alleged memory. 13. Children's contact with someone who is hostile to the Scientology organization. Scientology defines a suppressive person, or SP, as one who seeks to suppress or squash any betterment activity or group. Church of Scientology International, Scientology Handbook, page 426. By this legal action, the respondent, name deleted, would be, according to Scientology, a suppressive person. 14. This designation has important implications for the manner in which Scientologists would view the children. Again, according to Scientology's definitions, they would be potential trouble sources. Oh, a Kellycopter could tell you about that one. Isn't that great? Because of the continued relationship with their mother. Wow. Oh my God. You guys see what they did there? They had to make sure they separate the mother and the child. So if the child has communication with the mother, something like that. I didn't get the whole gist. But now the child is PTS. Do you see that? Go read that Springmeyer book. You'll know what I'm talking about. But that's not for the faint of heart, you guys. As Scientology defines the term a potential trouble source, abbreviated PTS, is a person who is in some way connected to and being adversely affected by a suppressive person. He is called a potential trouble source because he can be a lot of trouble to himself and others. Well, LRH would know, wouldn't he? And that came from the Church of Scientology International Scientology book. 15. More specifically, a PTS type 1 is one who is associated with or connected to a suppressive person in his present time environment. Like your mom or your dad or your aunt. They can't ask any questions about Scientology. By connected is meant in the vicinity of or in communication with, in some way, whether a social, familial, or business relationship. 16. According to Scientology doctrine, I love how he words it, Scientologists have their ability to progress in auditing damaged by being in contact with suppressive persons via potential trouble sources. Consequently, one accepted Scientology strategy is to attempt to get the PTS source to cease contact, called disconnecting in Scientology. Be nice if Scientology disconnected from all the police, wouldn't it? Well, police wouldn't want that, would they? They like that extra change. For the suppressive person, called disconnecting in Scientology from the suppressive person. As a Scientology publication states, after discussing how the organization had canceled the disconnection practice in the past, that is funny, the tool of disconnection was restored to use. It never went away. In the hands of those persons, thoroughly and standardly trained in the technology of handling suppressives and potential trouble sources. By the way, the security outside the Blue Building and all these places, that's hugely their job. I mean, look at technology of handling. Consequently, the respondent, blank, has every reason to fear that in unsupervised visitations, her former husband would try to get the children to turn against their mother. 17. Belief that auditing can eliminate various physical illnesses. Scientology believes that around 70% of all illnesses are psychosomatic. Well, then that would mean all LRH's insane psychoses and delusions and all that, he created himself, which makes them responsive to Dianetics auditing, at a fee, of course. Indeed, a Hubbard Communication Office policy letter even states that a chronically ill person, whether the person is known to be connected to a suppressive or not, is always found to have been so connected in PTS. That would mean like over 75% of Scientologists are PTS then. And I don't say that in a mean way. They don't look well. And that came from Hubbard PTS Personnel and Finance. And also L. Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics. Almost all childhood illnesses are preceded by psychic disturbance. And if psychic disturbance is present, keeping an engram re-stimulated, such illnesses can be far more violent than they should be. Measles, for instance, can just be measles, or it can be measles in company with engramic re-stimulation. Is that when they do the locational assist? In which case it can be nearly or entirely fatal. A check of many subjects on this matter of childhood illness being predisposed by, precipitated by, and perpetuated by engrams causes one to wonder just how violent the diseases themselves really are. They have never been observed in a cleared child, and there is reason to investigate the possibility that childhood illnesses are in themselves extremely mild and are complicated only by psychic disturbance, which is to say, the re-stimulation of engrams. I wonder how many young children in Scientology died from illnesses that we'll never know about. 19. This belief that auditing can impact illness continues in the organization in, for example, the Scientology Monthly Journal, The Auditor. It was in 97. Readers receive the process for common cold. The process involves repeatedly saying to someone with a cold, "What haven't you lost lately?" or "Tell me something you haven't lost." The description of the process ends with the invitation, "We want to hear about the miracles that occur when you use the process." And that was from The Auditor. 20. Moreover, Scientology doctrine also states that a Scientologist touching an injury, infection, or illness can assist in the healing or curing, as the Scientology publication indicates. The application of touch assists is not limited to injuries. Well, I think that's what I was thinking about. They are not just for the banged hand or the burned wrist. They can be done on a dull pain in the back, a constant earache, an infected boil, an upset stomach. In fact, the number of things this simple but powerful process can be applied to is unlimited. Me personally, I do believe in Reiki healing and energy healing. But, he had to hijack everything. 21. These unorthodox attitudes toward illness and healing raise legitimate concerns about whether Scientologists would respond quickly and approximately if children were to become injured while in their care. Like Serge Obelinsky? Did it work for him? 22. Time demands that interfere with parents' time. Wow, can you believe this? In a manner that adversely affects their children. In the paper that I delivered in Leipzig, Germany, in 1997, I documented how the Scientology organization itself becomes functionally a new family for Sea organization members, often at the expense of their spouses and children. And then he cites, where it came from. In essence, evidence exists that, at least in the past, Scientology's long and harsh work demands forced many of its most committed members to perform tasks that kept them away from their children. I agree with that, but as a parent, you have to stand up. You just have to. Or an auntie or an uncle or whomever's caring for the children. You have to. Children didn't bring themselves into the world. When an organization such as Scientology apparently places its most committed members under arduous work hours, then concerns exist about similar kinds of time demands placed upon Scientology parents who are not Sea Org members but nevertheless are on staff at local Scientology offices. I don't even think this guy had all the information, and he did. This is before the internet. He did a good job. 23. Possible neglect of children. Also in my Leipzig presentation, I documented instances of probable neglect of children by their Sea organization parents. Facts. Living and play conditions for Sea organization children seemed poor. I think they're non-existent. at least in the past in some locations. And some children seem to have been neglected while their parents fulfill their Scientology responsibilities. That's a fact. And it's happening right now. Many more examples of probable instances of child abuse and neglect within Scientology are available on World Wide Web, which the Scientologists got to it. But it's okay. The web is webbing now. And I took that from BJ Investigates. And then he cites Scientology and Dianetics tax-exempt child abuse and neglect. That's what Sergio Del Mar talks about all the time. Facts. Given them the IRS exemption, the IRS helped them to abuse children. Ron Hubbard produced a document entitled Security Check Children. Isn't that great? I've read that one here. And specified it for children whose ages range from 6 to 12 years old. I've read that one. It's pretty disgusting. It contained 99 questions by my count, and it leads into them with the statement, the first question is the most potent. This first question is, what has somebody told you not to tell? You see that, you guys? They want to break down. And it actually did work on a lot of people. They're still unable to really hold secrets and boundaries. They want the child to not be able to have any of their own discernment, or they want to know any kind of secrets for blackmail as far as that goes, and also to enable the child to write the KR reports and all that. Other questions include, do you have a secret? Yeah, the blackmail starts young. It starts young. Have you ever done anything you were very much ashamed of? More blackmail material. And have you ever cried when you shouldn't have? Presumably, Scientology adults put children through the security check while the children were on the reputedly spiritual counseling device, the e-meter. I have never seen this children's security check canceled, and its existence raises important questions about the extent to which the Scientology organization believes it has the right to intrude into the lives of its children. Facts, man. This guy rang the alarm, bro. Comments about the other affidavits and statements. There's quite a few affidavits if you guys go to Wikipedia, but I don't know what I think about them. But at least they did give a statement. 25. In her draft statement, the respondent named indicated that her former husband used to sit one of the children, name deleted, down and make him stare at him for as long as half hour without moving. Yeah, that's what Sergio Del Mar talks about. Who else has brought that up? A lot of the second gens or third gens have brought that up. That's abuse. I now know this is called the first stage of the TRs. Those are training routines. This deduction is essentially correct. The Scientology handbook described the TR training routine. TRO confronting. In the following manner, training stress. Student and coach sit facing each other. Coach is an adult, by the way, just so we're clear on that one. Coach is an adult. A grown-ass man or a grown-ass woman. Facing each other, neither making any conversation or effort to be interesting. They sit and look at each other and say and do nothing for some hours. Student must not speak, fidget, giggle, or be embarrassed or fall asleep. The levels of abuse there. And that comes from Church of Scientology International Handbook. The respondent blank also indicated that her former husband, who was the applicant, name deleted, would not let her or anyone else go near the children when they hurt themselves, as he claimed that speaking to them would create engrams. This was one thing my heart would not let me give into, so it always ended up with him screaming at me. That was her maternal instinct, by the way. So any Scientologists listening to this, I know I'm hard on you guys, but it's the real deal. Her maternal instinct wouldn't allow her to let her children sit there being hurt. And physically trying to push me away from the children. That's sick. This behavior follows exactly what L. Ron Hubbard instructed in Dianetics regarding the prevention of engrams, either occurring or becoming associated, keyed in, to particular incidents. Preventative Dianetics, then on the level of the individual, asks for cleared parents and then precaution against the aberrating of the child, and further precaution against the keying in of any aberration that child might have received. To do this is very easy. Maintain silence in the presence of injury. Do what has to be done for the injured or ill, and do it in silence. That was from Dianetics. 27. Moreover, the applicant's name, allegedly violent reaction, screaming and trying to push his wife away from the children, is in accordance with Hubbard's instructions. Don't talk around a sick child. If the doctor decides to hold a long, drawn-out conversation around the sickbed, your natural feeling of courtesy or awe might restrain you from doing something about it. I just want to add real quick, because of what I know from like the Illuminati mind control and all that, and they do a good job, you guys, obviously. They want to break any paternal or maternal instinct in these people. Some of them that are so easy to be broken never had it. I think those are the ones that were really doing the abusing. But all of these policies, these were very carefully crafted. But your natural feeling of courtesy or awe may help severely aberrate the child for the rest of his life. You would know, LRH. A good swift kick in the shin of anybody talking around a sick child, or almost any physical violence, would be justifiable under the circumstances. Isn't that great? You think the LAPD and them, they don't know what's going on? Come on now. The applicant's name deleted alleged behavior and attitude toward injured children and his alleged behavior toward his wife at the time, when she tried to comfort children who were hurt, was in keeping with Hubbard's directives. So I'm just looking at those policies. Like I said, they really did a great job severing any paternal or maternal instinct. Just like Brave New World, just like 1984 and all these other sick shows and books. That was the objective. Just like the Nazi youth, etc. All of it. 28. Although the applicant, name deleted, has provided an undertaking to the court that he would not indoctrinate the children, oh please, into Scientology doctrines, Scientology's policies, which he must follow as a Scientologist, would make it necessary for him to attempt to do so, were he to have the opportunity. Oh yeah, you know what I was just thinking too? This is a mother who was protecting her children. Hello? 29. Finally, I must offer a few comments on parts of Dr. Brian Wilson's affidavit, who is an expert on behalf of the applicant, blank. Crucial facts are inaccurate, and these inaccuracies allow Dr. Wilson to draw erroneous conclusions. 30. First, Dr. Wilson states that he has discovered no evidence of the operation of an intelligence agency within the Church of Scientology. Actually, abundant information exists about this so-called internal intelligence agency, formerly known as the Guardian's Office, and now called the Office of Special Affairs. Wonder what Rinder knows about that. Under which works the Department of Special Affairs. A 1988 publication by the Church of Scientology International describes the official structure and duties of the Office of Special Affairs as follows. Can't wait to hear this regurgitated propaganda garbage. The Office of Special Affairs International, OSA INT, is a network which extends through continental liaison offices to org-level Department 20s. The Department of Special Affairs. The OSA network is responsible for handling all external matters. All external matters. All external matters. Like with Miriam Francis. Of the Church, including legal defense, government, and media relations, to the result of the total acceptance of Scientology and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. OSA helps create a safe environment for orgs, please, to operate in and expand in their actions, propaganda. That came from the command channels of Scientology. This guy, look at all this information he got, and the internet was just barely beginning then. It's amazing. I note that this section also states that OSA claims to help orgs expand by keeping them operating fully in accordance with the laws of the land. Please. But recently leaked documents indicate otherwise. 31. Insight into the actual operations of the Office of Special Affairs comes from confidential training documents that Office of Special Affairs personnel had to study in 1991, in which former Department of Special Affairs member Frank Oliver, currently residing in Florida. I don't know what I think of Frank Oliver, to be honest with you guys. He was in OSA as well. There's a lot of infighting with Oliver and Rinder and there's another guy I can't think of now. I don't trust any of them. Has entered as evidence in an American court case between Fact.net, which they took down, but it's okay. It's Scientology, that FactNet you took down. All the information's on the internet now times 1,000. Sucks to be you. In Scientology's Bridge Publications International, the list of documents that members of the Office of Special Affairs Investigations section had to study includes the following. I'm not going to read that garbage. Oh, one of them is called Battle Tactics. I wonder what Rinder knows about that, huh? Oh, but he's such a good guy. He's helping children that are abused. Oh, he's helping you. He's helping people. He's helping people. Oh. Oh, I thought it was finished. Of particular interest is the item OSA Inves, Frequent Flyer Club Hat, which instructed Office of Special Affairs investigation staff to call airlines and attempt to get frequent flyer records of people, and hence the record of people's trips. Aside from being illegal, this activity is a classic example of Scientology's intelligence gathering activities. Who else gathers intelligence? Do 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 do. Not gonna say anything. Wakey, wakey. While Brian Wilson may not have had ready access to material filed in an American court case, abundant and easily accessible information exists on the internet. I love how he says that. About Scientology's intelligence agency. Do. And then he references Xenonet, which there's some really good stuff on there. Anything to do with Rinder, I had nothing to do with that. 33. I note, too, that one of the documents that Office of Special Affairs investigation staff studied was about suppressive persons and groups. Its inclusion as a document that Scientologists had to study indicates that both Mr. Christian Zirko, who is an expert on behalf of the respondent, oh, there's that word again. I don't trust it. I mean, I do think some experts do really know what they're talking about, but I don't like that word, man, at all. Okay, I'm going to slowly scroll. We don't need to read all this. Okay, I do want to read this. Dr. Wilson is incorrect when he states categorically Scientologists are voluntary participants in their religious faith. See, they always use that. That's their little loophole. They are not incarcerated, and they are not subject to a regime of threats and blandishments. Lies, 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 yeah. While I could debate the extent to which Scientologists are subjected to various type of threats as they progress in the organization. Okay, this sounds like some gobbledygook. Hold on. Hold on a minute, you guys. I'm going to scroll. Okay, it was actually almost finished. He just brings up more, of the where he got his information. He did an amazing job. They were mad as hell. They were mad. So anyways, you guys, I will leave that link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace. And thank you, Stephen A. Kent, for being a boss, standing up for children.